What's going on, guys? This is RichaadEB here, and today I am bringing you my YOLO League. I don't even know if it's YOLO League or if it's just YOLO because there's League in the name, but whatever. Week 2 battle against Baby Eric, Vanillex, whatever you want to call him, and the Seattle Onix. I already have a full team builder dedicated to my team that went up yesterday, well, it should be yesterday, but if you can't bother watching that, I have a mixed attacking 3 attacks Taunt Greninja. With Expert Belt, I have a Choice Scarf Excadrill, I have Super Standard Mega Lopunny except with Encore, I have a Choice Scarf Roserade, I have an offensive Kebia Berry Gardevoir, and a Spadef Raw and Rocks Swampert. I will leave the links to both Eric and YoFizz, the person who sort of is in charge of this league, I guess, in the description, so you can go check both of them out. Highly recommend both of them, absolute, top blokes. And with that, I guess I'll just get into the matchup. So, looking at what he didn't bring, I don't have to worry about Mega Absol, which is good, or Audino or Aerodactyl, which are kind of what I expected, the 3 least threatening ones to my team. I thought Scarf Aerodactyl might come or something like that to try and check Lopunny, or maybe even a bulky one, but looks like he didn't bother to bring it, which is good. As I mentioned, Audino doesn't really have a fantastic matchup, neither does Mega Absol, so I didn't think he'd bring either of those, and he didn't. And looking at the team we've got in front of us right now, basically if I can get rid of that Nidoqueen, Scarf Roserade can put in a lot of work, or Nidoqueen and Registeel, Scarf Roserade puts in a lot of work against his team. Excadrill can potentially clean up. I probably need to get a bit of damage on that Thunderous and maybe even the Whimsicott, but I can just fire off Earthquakes most of the time and do lots of damage. But as I said at the beginning in the team builder, big win condition is looking like Megalop. He really doesn't have much of Megalopny. Looking at his team, I decided to lead off with my Greninja because it can do good damage to everything insofar as it can hit every single thing on his team, super effective damage with an Expert Belt, which is okay. And if he does lead with something like Nidoqueen or with Registeel, I can taunt and prevent them getting up hazards potentially, so that's what I decided to do. Now we see here that he actually leads off with the Latios, which would normally be a great matchup for me, except Ice Beam won't KO, so I make the safe switch into my Gardevoir. It also means if he switches out into something to take the Ice Beam, I can potentially 1v1 it a bit better. He goes into Manaphy. I just fire off a Psychic here because if he switched in anything, then like the Registeel, I can potentially get a Spadef drop, or potentially get one on the Manaphy. As he switches in the Nidoqueen, it takes a huge amount of damage, and I'm able to take out with a following Moonblast. So good moves early there, getting rid of the Nidoqueen, meaning no Toxic Spikes. He brings in the Registeel, and I don't want to stay in and take an Iron Head or a Toxic or anything, so I decided to go out into my Swampert because it basically beats this thing 1v1 and I can just fire up Earthquakes, as he actually misses the Toxic, which is unfortunate. Now here I decided to just get out my Rocks. He does have a potential Defogger in Latios, but I want those Rocks up for chip damage, primarily on the Thunderous, a little bit on the Latios as well, potentially on Manaphy. It's just good damage on everything. He brings in the Whimsicott, and I don't really want to deal with this thing, so I just go into my Excadrill as he makes a good prediction and goes for U-turn. And we see that this thing is Life Orb, which means that the Rocks recoil, or Rocks damage plus Life Orb is going to be really wearing down that Whimsicott, so hopefully it won't be too much of an issue for me, because it actually could be. Now here he brings in the Latios. I run some calcs and realize that I actually have a chance to kill with Earthquake. Unfortunately I don't, but that's whatever. He probably had HP investments, I probably didn't, and he just takes me out with a Surf, but because he has Life Orb, that means Latios goes down. And trading Latios to Excadrill for me is perfectly fine, because I already have my Rocks up, and Latios I didn't really have great switch-ins for. Like, I had Gardevoir kind of, but because he was Life Orb, he could have switched up and gone for a Shadow Ball after the Surf, and that probably would have killed me. So here, I bring in my Lopunny, he brings in Registeel, and I decided to go to the Fake Out here, just to kind of scout out what kind of set he is. Is he Rocky Helmet? Is he Leftovers? That kind of thing. He reveals the Protect, predicting my high jump kick, as I go for Fake Out, and we see that this thing is not Leftovers. So I'm thinking it could be Chop Berry T-Wave, could be Chop Berry Counter. I'm just going to go into my Swampert because I don't want to deal with this thing. If he's happy staying with the Lopunny, that means he's trying to bait me. He does reveal the counter there, and I'm glad I went into Swampert. So right here, I go for Raw, sort of expecting him to switch out. Unfortunately, that means he can get a Toxic onto my Swampert. Not the most damaging thing in the world, but whatever. I actually wore him into Manaphy, which is probably about the worst thing I could have brought him into. I guess maybe Whimsicott. So here I decided to click Roar again because I cannot afford to let this thing set up all over my face. He goes to the Tail Glow as I roar, which basically just means that this U-turns has got a little bit of chip damage on Swampert and a little bit of chip damage on Manaphy. Goes back into the Registeel, and now this time I'm pretty happy just firing off an Earthquake. I kind of think he's going to Protect, but if he doesn't, I can potentially do good chunk of damage to this thing. He has a real protect here, but again, he doesn't have lefties, so I'm thinking he's probably a barrier of some sort, and Earthquake is going to do a good chunk of damage, probably put it in range of even a Chopper Berry reduced high jump kick from Lopunny. So he actually switches out here, and I predict this, and I go for the Ice Punch because it hits everything on his team that wanted to switch into an Earthquake. And he goes into the Whimsicott Cut. I go for Ice Punch that does a big chunk of damage, and he gets frozen. Because I'm good at this game, and I don't all rely on luck. Here I run some calcs and realize an Earthquake kills, and aside just staying and predicting him not to get unfrozen, I also felt kind of bad because I'm frozen, and just killing off with an EQ. So this is looking really good. Swampert has been a hacky little shit, dodging a Toxic, getting a freeze on Whimsicott. So now, he only has 3 mons left, and it's 5 against 3. I can still phase out his setup sweepers and do a lot of damage. Now here he goes into Registeel. I'm predicting the Protect to try and just take out my Swampert. So I actually switch out and go into my Greninja because I can taunt this thing, stop it from doing anything, and then take it out with 2 low kicks, depending on its spread. If it's specially defensive, 2 low kicks will kill it. So here he goes for the Protect, trying to scout out what I'm going to do to him. I just go for Taunt because I don't really have any reason not to. Now, next turn I go for Taunt again because either he switches in Manaphy and I get good damage, or he switches in Thundurus and I can still have Guard of Blood and can switch into that thing 100% of the time. So he goes into Manaphy. I actually just go for Ice Beam here, predicting the Thundurus because, you know, Taunt. It's unfortunate because it's a Manaphy and it just got a free switch in. So here I'm kind of forced to go for the Taunt for the same reason. I can't afford to let this thing set up. He goes for the Energy Ball. I guess I could have predicted that, but it was much more worth it for me to just prevent him setting up in my face. He gets a little bit of leftovers back. Here I just decide to sack off Greninja, go for the HP Grass, get some chip damage, but he actually predicts that and switches that into the Registeel, which is super unfortunate because even though I am getting rocks damage on this and an extra 4% from an unstabbed hidden power, I basically sacking Greninja with nothing here. So here I go for low kick, does a good amount of damage, and he goes for Iron Head and takes me out. But now, this Registeel is in range from pretty much everything, so Mega Lopunny just clicks return whenever it gets a free switch. I go into my Swampert here because sure he can protect, but I can just fire off Earthquakes and he doesn't really want to deal with that. So here he goes Protect as I go for an Earthquake. And then I predict him to switch, but I don't really want Manaphy or Thundurus to get a free switch in here. I just go for Roar because it means I'm getting chip damage on anything, and if I Earthquake on Thundurus switch in, I'm in a bad spot. So I go for Roar as he actually goes to counter, so he hasn't managed to pull up any counter sweep with Registeel. I could have just killed that thing with Earthquake, which is unfortunate, but oh well. Brings them into the Thundurus, and I'm just going to pause it here real quick. At this point, I've been playing pretty well. I didn't play perfectly with both Swampert and Greninja, but that's okay. But I'm in a really strong position. I am up 4-3, but Mega Lopunny is looking like a massive threat to his team, as is Scarf Roserade. They can potentially clean up between the two of them. And so at this point, I would also like to tell everyone that I was in call with Eric and a couple of other people while we were doing this battle. We weren't saying too much, but basically I switched off right here. So I basically looked at it and went, I don't really think there's a way in which I can lose this. I'm just gonna click buttons until I die. Which is the perfectly wrong thing to say because I've been playing pretty well up until this point. I got some lucky hacks at Swampert. Basically, I choke here. So I stay in, he goes to Grass Knot. I could have switched in Roserade, I could have switched in Gardevoir. Both of them would have, but probably Gardevoir would have been my choice, and it would have taken absolutely nothing from anything that Thundurus wanted to go for. Gardevoir is what I go into now because nothing on his team really wants to take 2 Moonblasts. So that's just what I click. He goes into the Registeel. After Rocks, 2 Moonblasts is actually going to be able to take this thing out because of my lefties. So Registeel is now going to be dealt with by the second Moonblast from Gardevoir. There you go. And then he is going to go into his Manaphy. Now, again, I make a bit of a misplay here. 100% my play is to go into Roserade, because if he predicts it and goes to Psychic or Ice Beam, he can't kill me. If he sets up, I can just fire off the Scarf Leaf Storm, guaranteed kill this thing, get off a really good chunk of damage, potentially kill the Thundurus. I haven't run that calc, but you know, it's a stab modest Leaf Storm from Roserade, it's going to do a lot of damage. And then I can switch back in my Gardevoir on the Thundurus every time. I can then just clean up with the combination of Fake Out and Return from Megalob. If he sets up, I can kill him with Roserade. If he doesn't set up, then I can take any hit and they can kill something with Roserade. 100% my play is to go into Roserade. But, like I said, I'd stopped concentrating, I was tired, it was the end of the day, so I just stayed and clicked Moonblast going, oh well, I'll just get damage on Manaphy, including Enrage and Megalock. He goes for Tail Glow. I just fire off a Moonblast here, does a really solid amount, no special attack drop unfortunately, but you know, can't get everything right. So this Manaphy is now really low, can't take another Moonblast, he just kills me off with a Surf there. If I had been fully bulky, I probably could have taken that because Guard of War is crazy bulky on the special side, or at least bulky enough. He gets a little bit of leftovers back, but he is 100% in range of a return from Megalop, so I just go into Megalop and click return because at this point something dies. He decides to sack off Manaphy, which is his best play, and at this point I realize I could actually lose. If he has Scarf HP Flying, with Thundurus I'm in big trouble. However, if you run the calcs, if he's not Scarf, Megalopony just kills him. If he is Scarf, a modest Psychic or a modest HP Flying cannot kill my Roserade from full. So at this point, my play 100% is to stay in and click return with Lopunny. If he's not Scarfed, I win. If he is Scarfed, then I go into Roserade hoping I get crit. So, he brings in the Thundurus, it takes some chip damage from rocks again, and he goes for Focus Blast. So it means I've won now because he had to be Scarfed to outspeed. He hit a Focus Blast and killed Lopunny, which is whatever, because Focus Blast definitely can't kill Roserade. But I came dangerously close to losing this match. And basically, even though I'm going to end up with a 1-0 win here, I could have preserved it much higher differential. I could have gotten a 3-0 potentially. At the start of the game I was playing decently well. I played around obviously the Nidoqueen, the Whimsicott I got lucky with relatively well. I managed to eliminate the threats to my Lopunny and then just sort of switched off and kept clicking buttons, and that was not the way to play the game. I wasn't really thinking straight. So even though I won this game, it's kind of not a great showing. It was a really close game, which is cool, but I am kind of disappointed in myself for how I played that last little bit. Obviously I still won, so it's fine, but if he had been Model Scarf Psychic and had gotten a crit, I would have lost, and that's, you know, sure it's a 6% chance, but I hadn't thought of that until I realized that Scarf Psychic could actually sweep my team, and ran the calcs to realize that Roserade could live one. That wasn't planned, that was just luck. That I had the HP investment and that Roserade is just fucking god. That could have really gone wrong for me. If he'd been Scarf Fly, I would have lost, which is sad to admit. But, you know, it's Pokemon, it doesn't really matter. I hacked the poor guy, which is just what I do. Whenever I play badly, I get hacks and win, so that's just how we roll. In any case, that's going to be the end of the battle. We are currently 2-0 with a +6 differential, still, you know, pretty damn good. Looking at being one of the top teams in this league, as always, we aim for the top, and if you don't get there, then at least you're close. So I'm gonna get out of here and go back to sleep because I'm fucking tired. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I will see you in my next upload.